Saturday morning, and I really appreciate you coming together here to discuss on very important policy. In fact, one of the most important policies of 21st century India, that is the vision of National Education Policy 2020 in Nagaland. I extend a very warm welcome to all of you on behalf of the organizers, and I believe that as we gather together, our knowledge on NEP will deepen, and this will help us as we go along the way implementing the various aspects of NEP. The NEP is considered as one of the most comprehensive and holistic educational policy with a vision to make India as a global knowledge superpower. India doesn't want to be just militarily or economically superpower, but India wants to be a knowledge superpower in the coming decades. And with this in mind, today we have organized this program, and I congratulate the organizers for bringing all of us together.
Education is all around development, we know, and it is for our children, our generation to come. Therefore, having this kind of discussion will have, from different angles, we'll get inside, and then we'll come to know in depth what is all about the visions of NEP 2020. Now, welcoming you all. I also wanted to stress one of my thoughts, whether on Indian education, whether the Indian education is really, giving importance or giving emphasis on the moral values, the human values, which is, I see it is degrading very much. Early in the past, our forefathers are pioneers. They are not well educated, not well versed on the subject matters, but they do have the integrity. They already possess the human values, the moral values. They imparted all those values to our children. Therefore, with the dedication, commitment, I think they have produced lots of statesmen, educationists, administrators, technocrats, and so on and so forth. Therefore, when we look at the present scenario, I think the education system is, I would say, it has become a self-centered, because there is a competition everywhere. When there is competition, I think we become selfish. Therefore, why not we emphasize on personal development? Why not we try to develop children who can really render his valuable service for the public? Not only thinking for our family, but education should be, to me, I think we should, once a person becomes educated, I think he should think for, not only for himself, but should think for the society. But the present scenario is just a contrast to that, because everywhere exam, competitive exam, and we think only for ourselves. Even if to our close friend who don't share resource, sharing is not there, we try to avoid our friends, because what we know we don't want to share, because I want to be number one. So I think this is what I wanted to request all the members to ponder upon this. And education is something that we have to say.
Member or members of the association, so we invite you. We are going to organize more of this kind of panel discussion in various institutions. This discussion is organized as an academic discussion, not political discussion, but it's an academic discussion to gain deeper understanding of the policies, particularly the vision of NEP 2020, and our discussion will be confined to the vision, particularly in Nagaland. How we can achieve, what are some of the vision we want to keep in Nagaland, and what are some of the things we want to achieve as a result of this NEP 2020. It's a very ambitious, NEP 2020 is a very ambitious reimagination of education system in India, and is a very far-sighted policy statement and a determination to transform India into a modern, progressive, equitable society. So it's a very comprehensive document, a broad guidelines for effective implementation of education system, education policies and programs in India. So it's a response, NEP 2020 is a response to the people's demand for a new education which is more practical, job-oriented, skill-oriented education which can enable our children to generate knowledge as a result of practice and experience. So, how to make education more practical in Nagaland? How to make our education more practical, more job-oriented, more experiential, more skill-based education in Nagaland? We can have this discussion, this type of education. Let us discuss and how to produce skilled manpower professionals in Nagaland. India is ready to produce and supply manpower professionals, and India is getting ready to become the superpower, knowledge superpower. So how to generate and produce skilled manforce, particularly in Nagaland. Let us also discuss how to make radical change, particularly not only in education but even in our thoughts, in our attitude towards values, towards works, and towards skills.
Keya, she is an associate professor, Department of Education, Nagaland University, Nirema campus. She has a PhD in education and 19 years of teaching experience, and ma'am has several research projects. Next panelist is Dr. Bendang Yapangla. She is also an associate professor from State College of Teacher Education, Kohima. Madam has a PhD in education and her specialization is language education. She has more than 30 years of teaching experience, and she has rendered commendable services to schools, colleges, diets, and other secondary teacher education institutions. We extend our warm welcome to you, ma'am. The next gentleman on the panel is Dr. Medangoy Rakho. He is the Deputy Director of Higher Education, Government of Nagaland. He has a PhD in economics. Sir Rakho is the NEP person from our department, Higher Education Department.
I feel has been framed through so much thoughts, discussion and deliberation and opinions of experts and intellectuals from all corners of the country. And I feel that this new NEP 2020 is trying to revamp the whole education system of India. And it's trying to make the education system more student-centric, accessible, affordable, and inclusive. But we can discuss on this later on also. The policy focuses on reducing, like our president said, reducing content and also reducing rote memory and moving towards promoting critical thinking and problem-solving skills. The policy has emphasized on the need of heightening multidisciplinary learning, providing multilingual education, increasing the use of technology in education, promoting vocational education, and also promoting 21st century skills. Now it also aims to have institutions with very high quality teachers and researchers with equitable access to the highest quality of education to all learners regardless of your socio-economic background. Now looking, just a brief background of the NEP 2020, it looks so colorful, it looks, when you read, you feel like it's really nice. But at the same time, if you think about to put into practice, it's going to be a huge challenge, especially for Nagaland. Now with that brief introduction, I have some key points that we can discuss today, and these key points are the changes the major changes in NEP 2020 in our education system. Now, and also to discuss on how we are going to implement in our education systems. Some of the key changes in NEP 2020 that needs to be discussed includes: 1. Major changes in the structure of education, right from school to undergraduate to diverse structures of even master's degree. 2. Multidisciplinary undergraduates, institutions offering a variety of subjects with flexible of choice of subjects across all streams. We can discuss on that also. Introduction of vocational education in undergraduate
are to be converted into multidisciplinary institutions. So we still have 7 years or maybe 70 years, we do not know. But the suggestion is that policy says that by 2030, all teacher education institutions like the B.Ed colleges we have to convert ourselves into multidisciplinary institutions. How do we do that? Okay. Now, in the policy it is said that an institution having, apart from education, right, we do education subjects and other subjects related to that. Other academic disciplines such as psychology, sociology, philosophy, neuroscience, economic science, maths, Indian languages, history, political science, arts, music, physical education, whatever courses are there, it has to be made available in the teacher education institutions. Okay. So Madam was talking about clustering, so we could think about that, how is it going to work out. But here again the concern is, the availability of qualified teachers, motivated teachers, committed teachers. What kind of teacher educators do we have for that? Will all those, multidisciplinary disciplines be available for us or not? And how can we do it, that structuring, we'll have to think about that. Now another provision for teacher education is that setting up of national mission for mentoring. So here there will be a pool of retired teachers or maybe senior teachers, senior faculty, and this faculty will be available to the teachers, to the practicing teachers. So any problem they have, they can call up the mentors, and then they can discuss, and then so sort of counseling is going to take place. Mentoring is going to take place. Now the concern is, I have looked up the criteria. Last year it came out, so I was interested. I wanted to fill up also. But what happened was that the criteria, the qualifications required are quite demanding.
Let me firstly say it like this. The child is full of smile prior to school. The smile reduces when he or she started school. Then in secondary, the smile vanishes. And in colleges, our students are constantly worried. What kind of education system will retain the smile of the child throughout? This is posed to the educationist by APJ Abdul Kalam when he was the president. Why they are constantly worried? Because our present education system happens to be winner and loser education system. And when we look into what do we mean by winner and loser, it is the language of war. In the war, when you happen to kill so many people and you happen to win the battle, you are celebrating the battle that you have won, but on the other side, you have killed so many and others are suffering. Their frustration is growing the more you celebrate. So now, what is all about that winner and loser education system? We talk about British legacy of our education system, simply train a person to become a clerk. That is all about making, because we prepared our students for competitive exam. When he or she fail, some people, because when we look into the selection process, selections, in other words, it also means rejections.
Knowledge, that's it, that knowledge. So it becomes a little difficult for them to pick up on psychology, to pick up something on sociology. It becomes a little difficult for them. But anyway, they can.
18 or 19 tribal dialects. Now, if at all we are to put into use, just this year, the SERT and then NBSE, DOS, set together and then we have come up with a common syllabus.
Some of us were there attending this Northeast Education Conclave. Every evening we used to come back and deliberate openly. And we should encourage any language, any tribal language whatsoever, encourage as a subject to be taught in the school. But NEP not just as a subject, but using that, as a medium of instruction.
Ma'am, you had mentioned about a very interesting example of doctors, and one of the reasons the medical education is considered very different from many other professional education streams is because very often medical colleges are supposed to be attached to hospitals so that they can practice, and their learning is truly experiential. Now, teacher education also has that component, but very often in many places the scope is limited. So, do you think there is scope for teacher education to take that route and make this the course truly experiential, considering the ITEP for 4 years?
Like practice teaching that is going on now. So, that is what is recommending. So, higher education will have to do that, connect with the schools. But suppose, let's take for example Kohima. In Kohima, there are 3 BL colleges, and when the 4th semester is entirely for their practice, they go to the schools. So when that happens, we fall short of schools, and many of the schools refuse to take us because it disturbs their daily routine, and then they have their own teachers, and then our students, they go and then they want to we take over their classes.